1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And hello, fellows. Herogon the Game Dev here. Now, I know what you're gonna say. It's been a long while, and indeed it has. I haven't really been the best at consistency as usual. I really wish I could finally break that habit and curb it. Hopefully in the next few weeks we'll at least see some smaller stuff. Anyways, before going into this fighting game Funlog, I've got a bit of life updates. First off, my dad's birthday. My dad was born June 30th of 1981. So he is currently 41 years old today. It's kind of a big deal, I'd like to say. I don't know. Anyways, for my dad's 41st birthday, I made this little art piece of my dad in cartoon form as Powerline from his favorite Disney film, A Goofy. Now, for those Instagram followers of my Herogon Life account, you may notice that I have actually added stubble to my dad's appearance, because if I took it off, and it's pretty much just me in the costume instead. So having the stubble kind of helps differentiate between me and Dad if we were in cartoon form. For now, anyways. Another thing of note with this art piece is the whole background. Originally it had a lighter, more neon green color, but I eventually toned the saturation of the green down to something a little more darker for taste. I mean, if I had done a lighter color, it would have looked a little more washed and intense. But moving on from that, before getting into the fighting game, there's a few other things. I won't be doing an update for my 2D platformer martial arts madness this time around, as that will probably make my video here a little longer than usual. And you know how iCloud can be with gigabytes. So let's jump right in to the fighting game Funlog. Over the past month or so, there's been small bits of progress, as usual. I can't blame anyone. Sean's a busy man these days. He's doing this whole thing every single Sunday, even during the holidays, and it's a little sad, but I guess people have to do what they have to do. So, the last we left off at match states and match flow in the last episode. So the week after that was match states part 2, which added a lot more to the whole match state stuff. For instance, the character entrance stuff. With this lovely little thing here, we can now instead have as many character entrances as we want. If you wanted to do Mortal Kombat 11, you could probably have 3 at a time, or something like that. There's probably no limit to the amount you could do with character entrances, but my suggestion is a cap at a little player 2, player 1, player 2 structure, or player 1, then player 2 structure before going into the gameplay. So yeah, that's all good. And this also kind of helps with the round stuff, but that's a little bit of what got into the match states. Next part is skipping character entrances. Now, I know I don't have a tab for this, but I don't think that will be needed, as I can easily show you. But before we get into that, we should go into the default game mode BP and the code itself. One thing you should note is this boolean called should skip all character entrances. Say you wanted to skip the character entrances individually so you could see certain favorite parts of yours. Say you just wanted to skip the boring player 1 intro and just get into the more interesting player 2's choice intro. That sort of thing can work. And how to do that is through here, the game mode settings. If we set this to true, then we have skipping all character entrances. But before we go into that sort of thing, we should be doing the false first. That will be a little bit of a taste. Now going into here again, we have ourselves the little menu here. As usual, we go into learn, then versus practice because of the usual hitboxes being shown there instead of the local fight. Hopefully you guys at least understand what I'm trying to show. We take our characters, and then character 1's entrance plays, but we could press P to skip it and then go there. It's a little wonky, but it's fine for now. There will be things that could end up fixed in the future, but for now, this is all good. Now, let's go into it again, but this time with the should skip all character entrances on. With this, we will skip all character entrances instead of individually. Another good part of a framework, one can say. And with Sean the Bro's frameworks from his fighting game 1 to his first-person shooter to action RPG, even Smash Bros, these are pretty okay for framework stuff. And do pardon how slow my Unreal editor is here with all the characters. That's kind of the drawbacks of working with either a Mac or who knows what's causing the slowness. Now, when we press P, boom, it goes right into gameplay. And then there we go. That is about what we've got good going for the match states part, as well as skipping the character entrances. Next up is upgrading the pause menu. This can at least help a little with stuff because now instead of using the character for all pausing, we instead use something called base player controller, which is, well, our base player controller, obviously. This can handle our inputs, and it's certainly a lot better than what came before with using the character itself. Now going into here, this is where open pause menu is. And if we go down to open pause menu, or in this case, what is actually in there, the function perform start input logic, we have ourselves this here. Perform start input logic. If the game mode has match state doesn't equal match state default, then we won't be doing this logic here. If it does, then we check some more stuff. If the game mode equals, if the match state equals character entrance 1 or 2, then we go into here and we can skip character entrance. But if the boolean is right here, then we should skip all character entrance is and just go straight to match begin. And that's only if the should skip all character entrances is true. So that is some good stuff there. But let's go into gameplay and show you what little updates there are around. Now, we go into here, then we press pause, resume, then pause again. You will notice that we have ourselves right here, the fight text still remaining. Everything's just paused, literally everything. And we resume, then there we go. Boom. That is kind of a bit of stuff there. Now do note that the reason why I don't have an exact background for the little pause menu UI is more so just to show what exactly all this stuff is. If you notice in here itself, I do have a background, but the visibility is set to hidden. If we set it to visible, it will appear, but I won't be showing that for today. Hope you guys understand that part. Finally, there is skipping stage intros. I did not do this part simply because I do not have any plans for the stage intro parts. And if you don't know what that entails, well, I've heard from Sean that this is used in Killer Instinct in one of his videos. He says that Killer Instinct has this sort of thing, but I haven't really played it myself, so I'm not really sure what to say on that. And finally, the most recent video, creating the settings menu. This was probably the most simplest out of all of them. Heck, on the coding side, it just wasn't too much. Just a bit of game mode things here and there, such as the, let's see, actually it was stuff in the base game instance. In here we have sound effect volume, music volume, which in the future will be useful for all sorts of sound stuff. And eventually we could have stuff for saying the number of rounds or round time. All that jazz you probably see in fighting games like Mortal Kombat 11, Street Fighter 5, and any other fighting games of these days, and possibly even of slightly older titles. Now, where exactly is this settings menu, you might ask? Right in the archive section, as I call it. This is where all your miscellaneous stuff is, whether it's credits right here, settings, news, and the store. The news part and the store do not have any functionality yet. More so, it's just covering the basis of my ideas. But in settings here, we have this lovely thing. A little sliders here that can set the volume, but they are currently not ready yet. Hopefully, by the next few days on Sunday, I will get into more of that and let you know on the progress of that. So, if you've stuck around long enough, I'd like to again thank Sean the Bro right here for all of his good stuff. I've actually been going through just about every one of his Unreal Engine 4 tutorials in a crazy mad binge sort of thing. I rather like his tutorials for what they are. They are quite the informative and familiar thing to go through for me. Heck, right now, I'm actually doing the Sidescroller live stream series. It's been a good time. I've gone through parts 1 and 2 and hope to go into part 7. Hopefully I can get to part 17 soon and finish this first look at Unreal Engine 5 live stream. After that, I will have gone through Sean the Bro's entire repertoire so far. Until, of course, Friday and Sunday comes, because he releases new videos at that time. So, all in all, things have been a pretty okay time for me with this. Because there's a little bit of struggle getting stuff out. Yeah, that's kind of been me and plenty of my family. I've had trouble with consistency, so I hope you can forgive me with this one. Anyways, thank you for coming and seeing this whole fighting game Funlog stuff. I look forward to the next one. I hope you guys have enjoyed. It's been Herogon the Game Dev. I've been Herogon the Game Dev. You've been you. And right now, I will need to sign out. Thank you guys. Goodbye.